John Hook's Newsmaker starts now.
Thanks for joining us on Newsmaker. To say Arizona is on an economic roll would be an understatement. Maricopa County just ranked #1 in the nation for economic development. And Danny Seiden is the president and CEO of the Arizona Chamber of Commerce. Good to see you, Danny.
Good to see you too, John.
Pleasure to see you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was Site Magazine.
Yeah.
Site Selection
Site Selector,
Magazine.
yeah. Insiders. This is a good one.
Okay, so that's an inside baseball publication.
Yeah.
This is pretty good news for you guys.
It's great news. Site selectors are really the consultants who work with people when you hear about these massive projects that we get. So for them to come together and get and anonymously rank us that high shows we are doing things the right way, especially in the Valley. That we come together with this regional approach and we have the infrastructure, we have the power and reliability and things that really matter right now to them. So the fact that we're ranking #1, fantastic news. We're going to spread it far and wide. Us in the Arizona Commerce Authority will be overseas soon doing another round of foreign direct investment recruiting, and so far we've had a lot of interest.
So there could be more stuff coming here.
There will be more stuff coming.
So
that pipeline is robust.
This is manufacturing. It's become a magnet for semiconductors, manufacturing, data centers, logistics.
Very true. In fact, so much so on the semiconductor front, SemiCon West, which is the foremost conference for the semiconductor industry, has always been held in California. First year in history, it's being held here in Arizona, in Phoenix on October. So it's very exciting. I'll be October 7th.
Housing. This is a continual problem, right? Because you're going to have more and more people coming here. Housing has been really a tough one, and for a long time, it was part of the attraction. Jobs are coming here, but we had the housing that was reasonable.
It was affordable.
It was affordable. What do you make of where
I
we
always
are?
have to be honest with our numbers. We just fell into the inaffordability ranking when it comes to housing because we don't have the supply we need for the demand we have. It really is that simple,
Why
John.
is that?
We have to build more. It's a couple reasons. Sometimes it's local regulation. Sometimes it's zoning. We do have certain groups, people will call them NIMBYs, who have prevented some single-family home developments from happening. Other reasons why is we're the only state in the country that requires 100 years of water assurancy, and sometimes that takes a while to prove out. So we have things that we can streamline, modernize, and really be able to build more. But that's the bottom line. We just need to build more houses.
Do you think that's going to happen?
I do. I just spoke at the Arizona Association of Realtors event last week. They are geared up. Their legislative agenda has identified different statutes and regulations that need to be changed, talking preemption if they need to get over some local government zoning issues. So they're fired up. We're fired up. This needs to happen.
What about companies providing their own housing?
That's a great point. And I think the last time I was on your show, we talked a little about Axon.
We did.
And that's what Axon wanted to do. They wanted to provide the ability for people to live and work in the same city. And it was met with a lot of opposition from a later council that initially voted on it. So we went to the legislature and we did allow for global headquarters to have a guaranteed housing allotment should they choose. So we preempted the cities on that. That's where this is heading if we can't come to an agreement. Now, I happen to think cities want growth. They just want it to be smart and responsible. So we can all work together and come up with a good regional approach.
What is happening with Axon right now?
Axon is still working through some issues with the Scottsdale City Council on permitting, but I'll tell you what's happening. They are booming. I mean, they're trading at highs. They're a $38 billion company. They're going to continue to grow. We want them to continue to grow here. So we're helping them in any way we can. I think some stuff might end up having to go to court, but they have the law on their side now.
Tell me about Tricolor. This is an automotive retailer focused on Hispanic consumers. This is another big one you guys have really seen blossom.
And again, it just fits in with I would say a recognition that our manufacturing sector is growing. We have the labor here. We've put a lot of time. We kind of proved this concept with Lucid initially that we could develop different programs to get people in. That was Drive 48. This falls into line with that our ability to manufacture these types of vehicles with a market for our largest growing demographic. Again, it just kind of fits. So no, we're excited about all the economic development, not just semiconductors. When you talk about Tricolor, when you talk about other projects and programs like that, and there's more on the way.
Is it safe to say, Danny, we've diversified from the boom-bust economy that really was predicated on home building?
John, it's beyond safe to say, and it was what was intended when you go back to those years, when you go back to 2008, during the time of the Great Recession, when we were the second slow state to come out of that. We all got together, we said, why? We reconfigured the Arizona Commerce Authority. Sandra Watson became that president and CEO, and she's done an amazing job. We put policies in place because policy matters. It's our tagline at the Chamber, to attract advanced tech manufacturing, to attract more high-paying jobs, so we weren't just dependent on tourism and construction. Those are great industries and we still have them, but we needed more. And that's why when you hear about some layoffs or electors, you don't see our unemployment numbers spike too much. We can absorb that because we have a diverse economy.
Jobs are still lagging.
Job creation, when you hear about $165 billion from TSMC, that is for fabs that go into the future, for advanced packaging that goes into the future. So the jobs will catch up to that capital investment, and the construction as it grows will continue to create some jobs. So yeah, jobs will come in. Jobs will come in. But our unemployment numbers are low. The economy is doing well.
Okay. Tell me about this 500-mile natural gas pipeline from the Permian Basin in Texas. This is Transwestern Pipeline. It's a $5 billion project. I know you've got opposition from environmentalists, even the Attorney General. But what does it mean for Arizona?
This is very big news, and I'm glad we're here to talk about this because not enough people are celebrating the fact that right now every state in the country is struggling with their power. You know, do they have a reliable grid? Do they have the power and energy generation they need to meet their growth? In Arizona, this pipeline announcement demonstrates that we do. Right now, natural gas powers about 45% of our entire grid. So to say in 4 years we're going to have a new source of that, a new pipeline coming in that's not at capacity, that's huge. And what it does is natural gas is one of the cheapest, most reliable forms of energy generation. So ratepayers should be cheering this decision because it shouldn't result in any real large increases to cover the natural gas side of it.
Okay, so is this a response to AI and tech and an energy need that we just have to meet?
It is a response to all of our growth. It's not just AI. I want to be clear, this is not about data centers. We could never build another data center and we would still need this pipeline to meet the demand of our growth. Our population is going to hit 9 million, projected to hit 9 million in the next 10 years. And with that, we need to continue to have more power generation, and that's what this pipeline does. And what I would say to the environmentalists is, Arizona's always had an all of the above approach. We're still going to be doing solar. We're still going to be doing the wind that we have. But this investment in natural gas is really important and should be celebrated because it shows how serious we are about getting more generation in fast.
We're going to have the chairman of the Corporation Commission on later in this program in the second half. But what does this suggest, this pipeline, about our shift? It seems that we're in a period now where we're shifting away from some of the green stuff that we were kind of going headlong into.
Well, I would say that what this shows is that the utilities in this Corporation Commission are responding to the market. And right now, if you go to the Corporation Commission, the majority of testimony is about two things: affordability and reliability. And that's what this pipeline does. It kind of meets those demands. It doesn't say we're never investing in things like wind or solar again, because that technology is growing, that technology is advancing, is very important, and it'll be part of our generation going forward. All generation is good generation. But this natural gas sends a message that, hey, we're serious right now that we will be able to provide the power to fund our growth here in Arizona and do it in a way that's cheap and reliable.
Well, there's a thing called energy density. And energy density is what kind of bang for the buck do you get for what you put into it.
Yeah.
And nuclear is one. That's the best bang for your buck on the energy grid.
Absolutely, and it's clean, yeah.
And natural gas and, frankly, coal and fossil fuels are next.
No, it's true. And coal has gone through what it's gone through with this regulatory, turmoil, and that makes it very hard because utilities, and Kevin, Chairman Thompson will tell you this as well, they have to plan out years into the future based on what they think the regulatory environment is and what the market is, and they have to balance those things out. And so this change and shift in coal has made things interesting because the Corporation Commission has to decide how to help APS navigate a move away from those mandates we saw decades ago against coal towards 100% green. So again, I think they're reacting to the market, they're being responsible, they're keeping the power on, the AC on, stuff that really matters in Arizona. We have the second most reliable grid in the country, and we don't have brownouts, we don't have blackouts. We keep our power going, and that matters because if you and I, residents in 110 degrees, we want our AC to work. But if you're a manufacturer, it is hundreds of millions to billions of dollars if you have to go through shutdowns and blackouts.
And we also bail out California when they need power.
We do. We sell excess power to California. That's right, because Palo Verde, the largest operating nuclear facility here in Arizona.
Okay, so construction to begin in 2028 on the pipeline. But again, Sierra Club's opposing it.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that this kind of stuff could halt the project?
It's never helpful because litigation can slow things down. What we have seen from, I will say, the Trump administration that's different is they believe we need power now, we need this generation now. I think you'll see pipeline permitting streamlined. I think you'll see the EPA signing off on environmental impacts a lot faster. EPA Administrator Seiden, who's been to Arizona, we hosted him, has shown a commitment to the economy and to energy. And he will be the first to tell you, no matter what the Attorney General, and we all love our Attorney General here, natural gas emissions are way down. They are down, I want to say it's over 51% over last year, despite production going down. So they're regulating themselves. They have leak monitoring going 24/7. They're doing everything right. It's an industry that does things really well. So no, while it's not great, I wish everyone would get on board. We're used to this. We know they don't care about, environmentalists don't care about what things cost. They don't care about people having jobs. They just want to stop all growth sometimes. And that's not helpful, and they're not going to win.
Okay, I want to ask you about this task force established by executive order from Governor Hobbs following a lot of the summer heat, and you've got people out working in this. We've seen this at the airport with the workers on the tarmac. There's a push for more regulation and trying to protect these workers. Is this, who's driving this? Because the guys who in the past have worked on the tarmac, it's a tough job, but they rarely complained about it.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And I don't know how you physically protect people who have to go out on the tarmac when it's 1:15.
You've talked a lot about this, but Arizona's been hot for a long time. The airport's been concrete for a long time. We've had people going out there in the heat for a long time. So what is driving this? Let's just go back to that question really fast. Is under the Biden administration, they were looking a lot at using OSHA to push down certain heat regulations. And it was very much a one-size-fits-all for how they see things way back in DC, not understanding how we do things in Arizona, how we've always done things. We've been protecting our workers. We know how to take care of people. Now, I'll give Governor Hobbs a lot of credit for two reasons. One, she recognizes that Arizona is special. She understands the economic side of this. She's actually appointed a member of the Arizona Chamber of Manufacturers Council to serve on that heat advisory to talk about ways in which we can do this together. So she's taking a very collaborative approach to keep people safe and keep our economy going.
Okay, so that's a nice fair play from your perspective to get some balance on that commission. Quick word on BNSF. Multi-billion-dollar rail terminal in Whitman. It's created a lot of angst among people who live out there. They're worried about traffic and they're worried about this and that. And I'm not going to invalidate their concerns. They're really worked up about it. Where do you think this is going?
I think it's always important to acknowledge their concerns. You're talking about neighbors. A lot of them are coming out of Sun City in these areas in the West that don't care about growth. They don't care about their family having jobs or kind of in the retirement side of life. And they expect things to go a certain way. What I will say is BNSF is doing everything right. They're doing a big traffic study. They're showing how they will mitigate traffic with the infrastructure that they create as part of this project. They're showing how well they're working with the county. It's actually in county land to try and meet all the concerns. It's so important because this is a distribution and warehouse center that connects us to the rest of the country in real time. It's much faster and will improve our
TSMC, all of that.
TSMC. All the growth in manufacturing right now that we're seeing, a lot of it's the West Valley. So to have this right there, that's a selling point for us too, that you can have a warehouse storage facility right there, that you can get to rail super fast. That matters. It puts Arizona on the map. And I'll say this too. President Trump is clear. He wants to onshore manufacturing. He wants to onshore supply chain. We need to have distribution to do that. We can do that with centers like this. So again, it's going to take some education, meeting with the neighbors, working with county officials, but we're ready to fight on this. We are ready to do what we did with Axon and go all the way to the end to make sure this BNSF project happens.
Seiden.
Thanks,
Great
John. Appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure. Good to see you. When we come back, as we mentioned, we're going to dovetail some of this conversation because the chairman of the Arizona Corporation Commission, Kevin Thompson, will join me on the recent rollback of renewable energy mandates. That's coming up next on Newsmaker. Back on Newsmaker, the Arizona Corporation Commission is a vitally important elected body made up of 5 members. They regulate your utilities, the public utility companies, incorporation of businesses, securities, regulation, and railroad and pipeline safety. Kevin Thompson was voted chairman of the commission in January. He's been on the commission since 2023. He joins me now on Newsmaker. Great to see you.
Great to see you, John. Thank you.
Okay, I'm very curious. Your body just voted August 14th to direct staff to take next steps to repeal the Renewable Energy Standards and Tariff Rules, called REST. What is that all about, and what does it say about the direction we're going in Arizona with our energy needs and our energy array?
Right. Well, the REST rules were implemented back in 2006, and here we are nearly 2 decades later, and the utilities have already met the intent, of the REST rules. The REST rules were mandated really to introduce renewables and to push the renewable generation in Arizona. They've succeeded in getting renewables have succeeded in coming into Arizona. The renewables set the requirements at 15%. So 15% of the power generated by the utilities had to come from renewables. And APS has met that intent. They're over 15%. I think they're running around 19% right now. And TEP is up around 23%.
So what is, Kevin, what is the upside of doing away with the regs if it's already being met? Why do you even need to bother?
Well, we don't need the regs, right? If the intent is already being met, if the mandate's already there, they've already met the intent of the rule, then why do we need the rule? And so that was one of the reasons. There's attached to that rule is also reporting criteria. So every year they have to, send in, type up a report, send that into the commission, and to talk about how they've met the intent of the REST rules.
Okay, you've said in the past, you said that you favor an all of the above strategy when it comes to energy sources. That's renewables, this is nuclear, natural gas. I'll get to coal in a minute. But when you say that, you're basically saying you want the market now to dictate where we're going to go, that the days of government picking winners and losers in this is over.
Yeah, it shouldn't be government picking winners and losers. We should allow the market to dictate. If renewables truly are the most reliable, most dependable, cheapest, most affordable, then they should stand on their own 2 feet. If it turns out that natural gas is, then that should stand on its own 2 feet. And so what we're really trying to do is just level the playing field, ensure that our utilities are bringing the most reliable, affordable type of generation, and putting it online, because ultimately it impacts the consumers of Arizona.
Kevin, how much of this is a recognition that AI is coming? We've got a really robust manufacturing base, high tech. There are going to be dramatic energy needs. What I'm hearing, we've got to double our energy in 10 years. I don't think, in all fairness, I don't think renewables gets us there. So is there a recognition here that the rubber meets the road and we've got to face reality if we want this kind of energy demand?
Yeah, John, this isn't just an Arizona issue. It's nationwide. When you travel across the country, you go to different meetings, every single state in America is dealing with energy issues. There's not enough generation. And with retiring coal plants, we just have to have more generation. And I wouldn't necessarily blame it just on AI. I think there's a multitude of things. Arizona is still a place that people want to retire. So we still have a lot of people moving to Arizona. We have chip manufacturers coming here, advanced manufacturing. So it's not just data centers, but, with the president's directive to, that he wants to beat China to the finish line on AI, it's certainly going to play into that as well. But, we truly need more generation in Arizona to keep the lights on.
Okay, let's talk about coal. You mentioned it. Is coal dead in Arizona, or is it going to have a renaissance?
It's pretty dead. We've only got really 3 coal plants remaining. The Obama administration's all-out war on carbon-based fuels is really what increased the cost and made it almost impossible to use coal. It's so not economically feasible for the utilities. It's costing our ratepayers a lot of money. So if we can convert those plants to natural gas, it's a lot cheaper. And then we can supplement that base load with renewables, hydro, nuclear, whatever else is in the cornucopia of generation. That's what we're after. That's
Kevin,
what we want to do.
you were around in 2018 with Prop 127. Do you remember it?
Mm-hmm.
The public spoke pretty clearly on this issue. That proposition called for renewables to be at 50% of our energy by now, by 2025. Rates, some said, would have climbed at least $1,000 per person. And the public voted it down. 69% voted it down, and 32% supported it. The public was speaking on this loud and clear 7 years ago.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and just Monday during the dust storm that we had our natural gas workshop yesterday, and I asked the utilities, I said, you know, how did the grid react during your peak demand time, which is 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. I said, you know, when the storm blew into the valley, or when it blew into northern Pinal County area, Eloy and Casa Grande, Maricopa area, where our utilities are buying a lot of power from the renewables companies. You know, I asked them, I said, how did your grid weather in that storm? And they said, we lost combined almost 1,600 megawatts of energy. And that is almost instantaneous. And so they had to fall back on their natural gas peaker plants to keep the grid online. Can you imagine what it would have looked like if 50% of our grid was dependent upon renewables?
Was that what was failing, Kevin, during the storm?
Yes.
Renewables were failing.
The renewables were failing, and they weren't.
You're talking about solar largely,
energy.
right? That's because we don't have a lot of wind here.
Right. Right.
Wow. Okay. I have to ask you this. You know, APS, their residential rates rising about 8% in 2023, another 8% in 2024. You guys oversee these guys. Mm-hmm. They're talking about they wanted another increase of 14% this year. To the people who say you guys are too cozy with the utilities, you're giving them a rubber stamp on their rate increases. Talk about why these rate increases are necessary. Is it to meet this future demand? Is that why people are being charged more?
No, not at all, John. Actually, it's just the opposite. So the way that the rate making in Arizona makes, it's about an 18-month process. So the money that the utilities are coming in for rate case on is money that they've already spent. And so it's loans, it's capital that they've already gone out and acquired. They've already invested it in the utility, whether it's poles, wires, pipelines, whatever it may be, and then the Arizona Constitution allows them to recover their cost and rates.
They're doing this, Kevin, to build out the grid and try to meet this future demand that we've been spending most of our time talking about today. Is that what this is about?
Done for replacement work. You know, one of the things this commission's very adamant about is ensuring that development pays for itself. And so these data centers that are coming in, they're going to pay for any transmission, any substations, any transformers, any wires that need to be installed to serve them. They're going to pay for that.
There is now talk openly about a second nuclear plant, because without Palo Verde, we would be dead in the water. Is that a safe assumption?
Yeah, you know, Palo Verde is a workhorse for Arizona, and you know, we are really looking at nuclear, whether it's SMRs or whether it's the full-blown like another Palo Verde, and you know, and that's one of the good things about you know, some of the assets that the utilities own. For example, you know, Cholla, when Cholla closed, APS said, look, we are going to keep the property, we're going to keep the lines. We want to make sure that we have access to that in case we want to bring nuclear or something in, an SMR, and drop an SMR there. They can tie into the existing infrastructure.
A small modular nuclear reactor. Yes.
Correct. Small modular reactor.
We're not there yet, but it's coming. And
it's coming. It's coming quick. I mean, you know,
nuclear is having a renaissance.
Nuclear is having a renaissance, and it's a really a nonpartisan issue, right? I mean, both Democrats and Republicans love nuclear, and we want to see this come. It is the future, and the sooner it gets there, the better off.
And it's carbon clean. I mean, that's, you know, if you care about the environment, you should be very bullish and supportive of nuclear energy. That 100%. Strikes me as if you're not really being consistent.
Right.
Kevin Thompson, Chairman of the Arizona Corporation Commission. Appreciate the time, Kevin.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're back on Newsmaker in just a moment. Thanks as always for watching, and we will see you next week on Newsmaker.